Okay, hello. So week 7. So this is a big week. We're looking at the Cold War. Also, just housekeeping, be reading your books. Your book review assignment will be due at the end of next week, week 8, not this week, next week. Okay, so this week you're going to read chapter 6, the Cold War. Then I have some things linked for you. I want you to examine something. So I've linked for you an article about the Bay of Pigs. What is that? So President Eisenhower's CIA had planned the Bay of Pigs. They were going to use Cuban exiles, 1,400, I think, Cuban exiles who were residing in Florida, and they were going to take them and have them do an invasion in Cuba. Because again, we are operating under President Truman. Oh, I think I put this in here for you. Yes, I did. President Truman. So, okay, let me back up. So, after World War II, we see tensions really heat up between the USSR and the United States. So remember, during World War II, the USSR and the United States are allies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, the enemy of Germany was the USSR, and then obviously USSR was a common enemy to the United States and the USSR, so they joined forces, they became allied. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Only during World War II. After World War II, we see the Berlin airlift, which you're going to study. We see George Kennan sending this long telegram to President Truman. Why do we care about that? We care about that because President Truman, George Kennan, oh my word, so many people, hang with me. George Kennan had spent time in Moscow in the 1930s, when he helped to set up the United States Embassy in Moscow in the 1930s. In 1947, he's back there, and the temperature has changed. And so he sends this long telegram to President Truman. He was like, hey, you need to revamp your policy here because these people do not want to be friendly. That's the gist. And so that President Truman enacts this policy of containment of communism. And what that is when countries are weak, we're going to go bolster them. We see that in Greece and Turkey. You're going to read about that. The Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe. We want these countries to be strong so that they don't fall prey to communism. So when communist North Korea invaded South Korea, boom, President Truman's policy of containment of communism, we go. And we go not only with aid, we go with American lives. We see it with Vietnam. Communist North Vietnam invades democratic South Vietnam. We go with lives. So I want you to examine these policies. Also, in 2024, February 2024, Vladimir Putin sat down for an interview with Tucker Carlson. I know, everybody freaks out. Nobody likes Tucker Carlson, but just hang with me here. So at the time, I was doing the 75 Hard program, and I had to have a 45-minute outdoor workout, and it had snowed a bunch, which we wish that it would again soon. But we were having a massive drought. Anyway, we had this huge snowstorm. So I said, okay, I'm going to go outside and shovel snow for 45 minutes, get my outdoor workout for my 75 Hard. So I started listening to this podcast. This podcast is 2 hours long. 2 hours later, when it ended, I stopped shoveling snow. But that's how captivating it was. And it had a lot of things stacked against it. They use an interpreter. I hate that. When I listen to an audiobook, I want it to be read by the author or forget it. I will read the book because it just lacks, it doesn't have the same punch. It's not the same emotion, not the same, I just don't like it. So number one, I started listening. There's an interpreter. I'm like, okay, 45 minutes, I can get through this. But it is so compelling and it is so jam-packed with history and perspective that I hate shoveling snow, and it was heavy, wet snow, which again, we long for in our drought. But that's how good this is. So I've linked it. You can watch it or you can listen to it. And then there's some questions about it. But that's something really interesting about the technology of today. And even though Vladimir Putin, leads later in the 20th century and the 21st century, what he talks about is relevant to the Cold War, and it's relevant to the current war in Ukraine, and it's relevant to Russia They were thought to have done like a land grab. There's so much history in it. It is well worth your time. So there's all these materials to read, watch, and listen to, and then questions. Okay, please reach out with any questions you might have. I am behind with grading, but we'll be catching up. Hang with me. And also, if you do reach out with a question, please text me. I live on a working farm and ranch. I am not always at my computer, so please text me if you can. If not, if you have to do a message, that is totally fine. Just understand it's going to take me a second to get to it. All right, have a great week.